Okay, think about it. Your phone, your laptop, your car, maybe even your fridge these days. They're all packed with electronics, right?
Absolutely. And they all need to talk to each other internally, send power, send signals.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today, the world of electronic connectors. Often unseen, but totally critical.
Yeah, we're using a really detailed report from Cognitive Market Research as our guide here, The Mission,
hmm
to unpack who the big players are, what's driving the market, and, what it all means.
And the numbers are pretty staggering. We're talking almost $80 billion in 2025,
hmm
79,841.5 million to be exact.
Right. And projected to jump to nearly $118 billion by 2033. That's a compound annual growth rate of 5%. Solid growth.
It really is. And these aren't just simple plugs. They're vital for everything from like advanced automotive safety systems to crucial healthcare tech.
They really are the unsung heroes, connecting power, connecting data across cars, planes, the phone in your pocket, hospital equipment. I mean, the list goes on.
And it turns out this space is actually buzzing with innovation, competition. We found some pretty interesting stuff about the top companies and where things are headed. You might be surprised how much relies on these tiny parts.
Definitely. So let's dig into what's actually pushing this growth. The report points to a few key drivers.
Okay, first up has to be 5G, right? It feels like it's everywhere now, or at least the push for it is.
Exactly. Faster speeds, more reliable connections, that all demands much more sophisticated connectors. It's not just faster downloads for us.
Right.
It's the whole infrastructure needing an upgrade, signal integrity, dealing with interference, making them smaller. It's a big challenge.
And then there's the Internet of Things, IoT, just the sheer number of connected devices.
Exponential. There's smart home stuff,
Mhm.
sensors in factories, wearables. Everything needs a connector. The volume alone is a massive driver.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can't forget electric vehicles, EVs. That's a huge one.
A really huge one. EVs need connectors that can handle serious power, high voltage, high temperatures, day in, day out. It's not just the charging plug.
No, it's the whole internal system.
Precisely. The demands are intense, and the innovation there is happening incredibly fast. We're seeing new materials, new designs, all focused on durability and safety for EVs.
Makes sense. What else is driving things?
Well, there's industrial automation, think robots on assembly lines, complex machinery.
Hmm.
They need super reliable connections, often in pretty harsh environments.
Okay. And the last one the report flags.
Miniaturization, that constant push to make everything smaller,
Big
lighter.
phone, medical implants. Yeah.
Right, so you need connectors that are tiny but still powerful and reliable. That takes some serious engineering and manufacturing precision.
So all these factors together,
hmm
it's creating a really dynamic market.
Definitely. Now, the report zeroes in on the top 5 manufacturers really leading the charge.
All right, let's name names. Who are the big players?
Okay, according to the report, the top 5 are TE Connectivity, Amphenol Corporation, Molex, which is part of Clough Industries, ABB Ltd., and Huawei Technologies.
Okay, some familiar names there, some maybe less so, depending on the industry you follow.
Indeed, they each have their own strengths, their own kind of focus areas. Let's maybe break them down a bit.
Yeah, let's do it. Start with TE Connectivity. They're based in Switzerland, right? Schaffhausen.
That's right, big global presence. Their 2023 numbers are impressive, $16.3 billion in total revenue.
Wow. And how much of that was connectors?
About $4.2 billion specifically from connectors. That gives them a hefty 14% market share.
14%. Okay, that's significant. What industries are they big in?
They're pretty diversified. Automotive, industrial gear, telecom infrastructure, medical, aerospace. Really broad.
That diversification probably helps cushion them a bit.
Absolutely. And the report mentions their recent push into high-speed connectors, specifically for 5G and IoT, hitting those key drivers we talked about.
Makes sense. Anything else notable?
Yeah, they're also focusing on sustainability, developing connectors, using recycled materials, making them more eco-friendly.
That's becoming table stakes almost, isn't it?
It really is. And they're not just innovating internally. They partnered with an EV maker in 2023 and also acquired a company called Advanced Circuit Boards.
So focusing on EVs and strengthening their supply chain.
Yeah.
Smart. Okay, who's next? Amphenol.
Amphenol Corporation, yeah, based in Wallingford, Connecticut, USA. Their 2023 revenue was $11.5 billion total.
And the connector slice.
$3.1 billion from connectors, putting them at a 12% market share, so right behind TE.
Okay, neck and neck almost. Similar industries.
Pretty similar spread, yes. automotive, aerospace, telecom, industrial. The report highlights their work on high-density connectors specifically for EVs.
Another one targeting the EV boom.
Exactly. And also connectors with better electromagnetic compatibility that's important for 5G. They also grew through acquisition in 2023, buying a European connector manufacturer.
Expanding their footprint. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3 was Molex.
Molex, yeah. They're in Lisle, Illinois, USA, and owned by Koch Industries. Their 2023 total revenue was $8.7 billion.
And connectors.
$2.8 billion from connectors, giving them a 10% share of the market.
Still a major player. What's their specialty?
They're known for reliability, especially in high-speed, high-density stuff. The report mentions their new connectors for ADS systems in cars' advanced driver assistance systems.
Self-driving tech and related features. Another huge growth area.
Definitely. And also ultra-small connectors for things like wearable health monitors.
Interesting. And any key partnerships for them?
Yeah, they partnered with a big cloud service provider last year. That points to their focus on data centers where, speed and reliability are everything.
Right. It shows how interconnected all this tech is.
Absolutely. And like TE, Molex is also investing in sustainable manufacturing and using recyclable materials. That theme keeps popping up.
It really does. Okay, fourth on the list, ABB.
ABB Ltd. Based in Zurich, Switzerland. Now, their total revenue is much larger, $28.5 billion in 2023.
Wow. Okay, the connector part.
The connector segment brought in $2.4 billion, which is a 9% market share.
So connectors are a smaller piece of their overall pie, but still significant in the connector market itself.
Exactly. ABB's big strength is industrial tech and automation. So their connectors are really built tough for demanding factory environments, robotics, energy systems.
Makes sense. Any specific innovations mentioned?
Yeah, connectors designed for renewable energy, wind turbines, solar panels. That aligns with the whole green energy transition.
Good douche.
And they're doing something interesting with smart connectors, building in real-time monitoring capabilities, adding intelligence to the connection itself.
That's clever. And partnerships.
They teamed up with a major robotics manufacturer in 2023, doubling down on that industrial automation space.
Okay. And the fifth major player was Huawei.
Huawei Technologies, yeah. From Shenzhen, China. Huge company overall, $92 billion in total revenue in 2023.
Massive. And the connector business.
$2.1 billion from connectors, giving them an 8% market share.
Obviously, Huawei is huge in telecom gear, 5G. So their connector business must be closely tied to that.
Very much so. But what's interesting is the report highlighting their development of ultra-fast connectors for cloud computing and AI applications. They're really pushing the envelope on data speeds.
Aiming at the high-performance computing market.
Seems like it. They also collaborated with a semiconductor company last year, and despite, some geopolitical headwinds, they invest a ton in R&D, over 15% of revenue.
That's a huge commitment.
It is, and they're also exploring sustainable materials, even biodegradable options, which is quite forward-thinking for connectors.
Okay, so those are the big five, dominating a large chunk of the market. But are there others nipping at their heels? Any emerging threats?
Yes, the report definitely points them out. Companies like 3M, Nexans, Belden Inc., Eaton, and Emitech Inc. are highlighted as ones to watch.
Okay, 3M, everyone knows 3M. They make everything.
Pretty much. And the report notes they're cost-effective but still high-performance connectors used across automotive, aerospace, telecom. Their sheer breadth is an advantage.
All right, Nexans. Less familiar, perhaps?
They're big in cables and connectivity globally. Their focus is on energy-efficient, high-speed connectors, especially for industrial, telecom, and energy sectors.
Okay.
Belden? Belden is known for signal transmission quality, so they emphasize reliability and efficiency, particularly for industrial automation and enterprise networks where you can't afford signal loss.
Got it. Eaton.
Eaton's a large, diversified industrial company, big in power management. They offer connectors for aerospace, automotive, industrial use, and they're also pushing sustainability and energy efficiency hard.
And finally, Amitech.
Amitech specializes more in high performance, often custom-engineered solutions for really demanding fields like aerospace, defense, and medical. Think specialized high-spec applications?
So it sounds like these challengers each have a specific angle, right?
Mhm.
Cost, energy efficiency, signal purity, custom solutions.
Exactly. They're not necessarily trying to beat the giants everywhere, but focusing on specific strengths or markets. They're investing, innovating, looking at sustainability too. They're definitely contenders.
Okay, so with all this competition, established players, newcomers, if a brand new company wanted to break into this electronic connector market today, What does the report say they should focus on? What are the success strategies?
Well, number one is innovation, but specifically innovative and cost-effective solutions. Think high-speed, miniaturized, energy-efficient. The report also mentions flexible connectors and specific designs for IoT.
So hitting those key trends we discussed earlier.
Precisely. And sustainability is huge. Using recyclable materials, having energy-efficient manufacturing processes, that's not just a nice to have anymore, it's a potential competitive edge. Customers are asking for it.
Right. What about location? Where should they focus?
The report strongly suggests targeting high-growth regions, especially Asia-Pacific. There's a huge manufacturing base there, massive demand for electronics. It just makes sense.
Okay. And partnerships.
Crucial. Building strong relationships in key sectors, telecom, automotive, consumer electronics is vital for market access and getting your products integrated.
And finally,
Look for niche markets, maybe specialized medical device connectors or getting into the renewable energy supply chain. Finding underserved areas where specific expertise can really shine.
so innovation, cost, sustainability, location, partnerships, and finding a niche. That sounds like a solid playbook.
It provides a good framework, definitely.
Okay, so let's zoom out. What's the big picture takeaway from this whole deep dive into the electronic connector market?
The main conclusion from the report is that staying competitive really comes down to balancing innovation, keeping costs in check, and expanding strategically. It's a juggling act.
And the market itself is definitely growing, right? Fueled by 5G, IoT, EVs, miniaturization, all that stuff.
Absolutely. Robust growth driven by these powerful tech trends. We see the big players, the top five, investing heavily in R&D and acquisitions to stay ahead.
But it's not totally locked down.
No, not at all. Those emerging competitors are definitely making inroads by leveraging new tech or focusing strategically. The report calls the market moderately fragmented.
Meaning there's still room for others.
Exactly. There are opportunities for agile companies, especially those that can adapt quickly to new tech trends, embrace sustainability seriously, and target those high-growth regions effectively. Those are the ones likely to succeed.
It's fascinating how these components, which most people probably never think about, are so fundamental.
They truly are essential building blocks for our increasingly connected, automated world, underpinning pretty much all the tech we rely on every single day.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. As devices get even smaller, even smarter, what's next for connectors? Could we see connectors that heal themselves if they break? Or transmit data wirelessly within the device itself, maybe?
Or maybe materials we haven't even considered yet.
Right. Just think about how these tiny, crucial parts enable everything else and where that technology might take us next.